I'm serious. So I walked in, and I walk by as I'm walking in, there's like a butler, you know, and this guy's rich, and there's a butler with like a tray of drinks like this. And so I walk in, and I come in, and I sit down, so my back is facing, he's behind me, and I'm sitting there. So I'm sitting there, I'm by myself, and I'm going like, well, I've never been around a butler, what do you do? And you make conversation, I figured I wouldn't, so then Copelson comes down, sits down, and starts talking to me, and I can't formulate a sentence. I'm absolutely, completely a mess. Most of it is because this guy behind me, it's like I could talk to this producer and tell him how I want to do pictures and how much it means to me, but all I could think about was this guy behind me, just standing there, and it drove me nuts. And he could see my desperation, and he said, "Do you want a beer?" And this was after like 25 minutes, and I said, "Yes, please." And he said, "Do you want a Lowenbrau?" That's how long ago it was, Lowenbrau, for those people that don't even know what that beer is. So he went to his one of 37 kitchens to get a Lowenbrau. So I'm sitting there, and I'm going like, okay, what do I do? It's like, this is going nowhere. The worst day of my life. I go, should I just say hello to this guy? Because I'm assuming he's probably my age. He probably came down to meet people like Copelson. Instead, he's his butler, and I'm some asshole. Just because of the connections in a fraternity, I was able to come down here. I mean, I'm the worst person in the world according to this guy, and he hates me. So I said, I should just turn around. And I turned around, and it was a dummy. It was one of these, like, you know, these shrunken apple head adults. And they're like this, and it's just like this fucked up face. And I'm like going, this thing, and I was like, ah! And it was like here, it was like one of those things, you know, when you're in bed, you wake up, and there's a jacket on the hanger, and you think it's a person. It's the reverse of that. It's the reverse. So I ended up, all of a sudden, all the stress went away. I had a great meeting with Copelson. He said he liked my screenplay idea, told me to write it. Of course I did. But I guess the moral of the story is the things that you think are going to hurt you, the things that keep you up at night, are never, ever, and if you trust me, I'm 45, I know this, the things that you worry about at night never, ever hit you. It's the stuff you can't see. The stuff you don't see coming, so don't even worry about it. And I know that's really not great advice, because, you know, that just means a meteor can come and kill us all. But you can't do anything about it. But what I'm saying is the things that keep you up, the things that drive you crazy, are never the things that get you. It's a dummy behind you, you know, it's all in your head. Anyway, how am I doing on time? Am I okay?
We don't know how long it is, though.
This is a 17-hour. I'm trying to break a record. This is all for ratings, man. This is all for ratings. So anyway, after that, I had to take a job. I didn't know where to go, so I applied for a magazine job at Prevention, which is a health magazine, the world's largest health magazine, 3.2 million circulation. But I never heard of it. I thought it was fire safety because it's called Prevention. And I flew out to Allentown, the most depressing city on the planet, but also the greatest city on the planet. For that reason, because it doesn't take a lot of money to become a king in Allentown. And I went there, it was snowing, it was miserable, it sucked, and I took the job because you have to take a job. That's what you gotta do. I don't care if you, whatever business, whatever you're looking at, you have to work. It's the most important thing. It makes you feel good about yourself, and if you don't work, you're a schmuck. So, I took the job, I became an editor, an associate editor at Prevention Magazine. Pretty big deal, I'm thinking, in Allentown, and so I go to bars, Sterling Hotel bar, and I'm thinking I can, you know, I run this place. And of course I'm not, because in blue collar towns, you know, I would be talking to a girl, but so would be a washing machine repairman, and she understands that. She's like, "Oh, you fix washing machines." And I go, "What do you do?" "Well, I edit them, you know, for a magazine on their fitness center." And she goes, "So I have a washing machine that does this thing." And he says, "Oh yeah, no, really, I'm losing out to a washing machine repairman." And but it illustrates a very key lesson. If you're going to get into magazines, public relations, marketing, you're essentially going to enter an occupation where you can do it drunk. Anything that requires you sitting and writing, you can do it drunk. And I did it for when I was at Men's Health and Prevention. You can take a lunch just because you're not moving any heavy machinery. You're not a pilot. You're not fixing washing machines. You're just talking. You're just writing. You're sending emails. Back then you didn't have emails, but you understand. We used the oral legend. But it is the great. If you get into magazines, which I wouldn't advise at this point because they're kind of dead, but you didn't have to work very hard, and it's clear when you lived in Allentown, when you were around people that actually fixed things. I can't change a tire, but everybody I knew on my street could, and believe me, I used them to that effect. The things that I learned when I was at Prevention Magazine was that even though you don't have an interest in the topic, which is health, you can make it interesting, and you should always, what I did was I covered a lot of health stuff, obviously, and interviewed doctors, and that made me into more of a conservative because these are people that aren't interested in attention. In fact, they shy away from it, and the doctors that get a lot of attention are generally quacks. It's these guys that change the world that you never hear about. I always say that that medicine is like the space program. These tiny pills do more than landing on the moon, and in their commercials they have to tell you that they're going to kill you. Like they spend 90% of the commercial telling you how bad everything is. Meanwhile, you've got health editors telling you that you should be, getting high-speed colonics to cure your cancer. And I realized that the people that I work with, health editors that make a lot of money doing this stuff, are full of shit. And the doctors, the people that everybody makes fun of, the Eastern medicine experts, the yoga teachers, are doing a disservice towards mainstream medicine, and mainstream medicine is pretty awesome. Whenever you see Eastern medicine rulers from those countries get sick, they fly here to get their heart surgery. They throw away the ginseng tea. After their first heart attack, they are here, getting the stents. They're asking for everything. They're opening it wide. They're taking more home for their families. I also learned at work that you should always be stupid. When you're in a job, there's a feeling that you should impress people. You shouldn't impress people. You should always ask the dumbest questions. And when you're interviewing people for an article or whatever, don't be afraid to say you don't know what he does. Explain to me what you do for a living. Especially doctors, and because they like that. And I learned that to ask the dumbest questions and play the fool, because they don't mind. People you interview over time don't mind that. What they do mind is you pretending to know more than you do. And I started doing that when I was working at Prevention, and I made a fool out of myself. But I learned that it's okay to just say you don't know anything. They'll walk you through it, and you learn things you never thought you'd learn. I love getting medical journals. Medical journals have the best pictures. It's amazing, and I would make copies of them and send them to my friends via regular mail. So I believe that I actually invented the internet, because talking like 1990, I'm like making copies of like a guy with a huge cyst on his head. I'm making 20 copies, writing, "You're gonna love this," holding it open, and it's just like 40 emails. I was doing that every day. Lessons that I learned in health journalism. People love the phrase open-minded until it comes to life and death, but they'll be open-minded about everything. They'll try anything. If somebody gets better with the new age medicine, it means they didn't have anything to begin with. That shit doesn't work. But the thing is, I always say, if you are open-minded, are you open-minded about these things, like going to work when you get up in the morning? Do you just say, I don't know how I'm going to get to work today. Maybe I'll take a really long way. No, you have to go to work. You got to be there by 9 o'clock. You know the best way to get to work. That's narrow-minded. When it comes to spending money, you can't get a bill at the restaurant and go, let's be really open-minded about what I'm going to pay. You should do that at a Berkeley restaurant. Do that when you have, depending on the amount of nose rings, that the waitress has. Just go, we're really open-minded. How do you say we give you $3? They're not going to be open-minded. They're going to be incredibly narrow-minded. In my mind, open-minded means stupidity. Narrow-minded means brains and intellect. And you will always be made fun of for being narrow-minded. But narrow-minded means focus, objective truth, knowing what's right. That's it. Open-minded is a ruse, wrong, bad, don't do it, kill people who do. Moved on to men's health, which, as you know, is basically just abs and advertising. I wrote, back in the mid-90s, I wrote Lose Your Gut. Those things that you see every month. There's a belief that you get 500,000 new readers every month at Men's Health, just because there's 500,000 men who need to lose weight. So you can just write the same cover lines. Get back in shape. Lose Your Gut, Flat Abs in 5 minutes, the 3 most important things you need to know about your abs. I've written them all. The key is then, when you run out of ideas, you just flip it over and go, the 3 things you shouldn't do.